Mauricio Pochettino is set to become the new manager of the U.S. men's national team. While this has yet to be officially announced by U.S. Soccer, all of the rumors, all of the negotiations, and all the big names are essentially done. All we're waiting for is for his paperwork and contracts to be officially finalized at Chelsea before he can be officially announced with the U.S. men's national team. With it being towards the end of August and the U.S. men's national team having friendlies coming in early September, it looks like Mauricio Pochettino's first U.S. men's national team camp will likely come in the October window. Don't get me wrong, I would be thrilled if he can come in and make that quick turnaround to manage our team in September. However, that is not looking very likely at this point, as he is still yet to be officially announced by US Soccer. At this point, I want to welcome everybody back to the channel and just say that it's time to celebrate, because we have gotten one of the prime candidates for the US men's national team job. Mauricio Pochettino was up there with the likes of Jurgen Klopp as that pie in the sky, shoot for the stars kind of manager candidate, and all signs point to the fact that he is ours and he's going to be joining our program. I really can't express how exciting that is for the U.S. men's national team, especially heading into 2026. With that being said, let's dive into why Mauricio Pochettino is going to be a great fit for our program. Mauricio Pochettino started his managerial career with Espanyol in La Liga in 2009. He has since held a number of different managerial roles across Europe, all building with big clubs. After his time with Espanyol, he took the managerial job at Southampton in the English Premier League in 2013, and he took them to an 8th place finish in the 2013-2014 season. That is the highest that they have finished in quite some time, and I don't believe they've been back to those heights since. Taking a team like Southampton to a solid top half finish in the Premier League is quite an accomplishment. If you look at the top 6 teams in the Prem, there's quite a large gap between them and the rest of the league. If you're looking at Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, those are the 6 bigger clubs in the Prem that have those massive salaries, especially back in the 2013-2014 season. There has been a little bit more parity as of late with Newcastle, getting new owners and spending a little bit more money. Aston Villa has been very competitive over the last few years. However, getting Southampton to an 8th place finish is quite an accomplishment. That's a theme that we've noticed with Poch throughout his entire career, is that he has a very strong ability to get his team to play as a cohesive unit and to be greater than the sum of its parts. From Southampton, he moved on to manage Tottenham from 2014 to 2019. In the 2016-2017 season, he led the Spurs to a 2nd place finish in the EPL with 86 points. And Spurs is a top 6 club. We would expect them to be always competing for Europe, whether it's Champions League or Europa League, but they're not typically the title contenders in the EPL. And, that is a little bit of a hurtful point for me, as I am a Spurs fan. But, when they were doing this and when Poch was leading them, they were extremely competitive. They were consistently finishing top 4 and looking very strong. 86 points with Tottenham is nothing to frown at. On top of that, in 2019, in his final season at Spurs, he took them to the Champions League final. In Champions League, you're going up against the top teams all across Europe. We're talking, PSG in France, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona from Spain. You're talking, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund from Germany, and, other top clubs in England as well, and all across Europe. But some of those really big names, he was able to get his Spurs club to beat out and make it to the final. While ultimately he didn't win, he did have really strong performances throughout, and making it to the Champions League final is a great accomplishment in and of itself. In 2021, he took over the insanely talented and political PSG. And after that season, he moved on to Chelsea in the 2023-2024 English Premier League season and helped Chelsea turn it around and really get up to a 6th place finish, which, after the start that they had to their season, I don't think anybody saw that coming. So again, he is continually getting teams to turn around and play better, more cohesive football as a unit. Something that I'm really looking forward to with Mauricio Pochettino at the helm is his tactical flexibility. Now, Pochettino historically likes to play a 4-2-3-1, which I have no problem with. He really likes to utilize a hard-working, high-energy midfield with a dual pivot sitting right in front of the back line. That is going to stabilize our defense and really help us put some high pressure on the midfield. And for the U.S. men's national team, I think that that's a great initial step. Our depth and our quality is definitely in our midfield. By doing this, he's going to have the ability to control the game and really press in that midfield, hopefully go for a mid-block, and win the ball back and help us turn in transition. That's not his only tactic that I'm excited about. While he has his preferred play style of a 4-2-3-1, he can pivot from that formation, whether it's in the game and changing on the fly, or it's part of his pre-game planning. We've seen evidence of this tactical flexibility with Tottenham and PSG, where he would transition from his 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3 and even a 5-4-1 when going up against stronger opponents. The U.S. men's national team is really going to benefit from this flexibility when we're playing opponents from outside of CONCACAF. We all know that we're able to dominate the game and dominate the ball against all of our CONCACAF opponents. But when we get onto the bigger stage and we're playing teams that have more talent and more depth than we do, we can't play the same style. We have to make those adjustments. That is ultimately one of the areas where we failed under our previous manager, and it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing us be able to change going forward. Something else that I'm really looking forward to that Pochettino is going to bring to the table is that he is bigger than all of the players that we have here. He's bigger than Christian Pulisic. He's bigger than Weston McKennie. He's bigger than Tyler Adams. He commands respect in the locker room. He is a demanding leader who commands that respect because of his coaching tenure and resume. Everybody knows that he asks a lot of his players, he builds good relationships with his players, and he gets big results out of his players. He does this by holding his players accountable while also forming a strong personal and professional relationship with them at the same time. This good balance of respect and familiarity is crucial, and it was greatly lacking under Greg Berhalter. He didn't have control of the players. They were all way too comfortable with him, and everybody's spot in the roster was solidified. Nobody was afraid of losing it due to a bad performance or a rough string of games. Pochettino's not going to stand for that. He's going to hold players accountable, and if you come into camp and you're not perfectly healthy, you're going to be stuck to that minutes restriction. If you're not fully fit, you're not going to see the field. If you're putting together bad performances, you're not going to see the field the next game. Your minutes are going to be reduced. Pochettino is going to hold players to the highest standard, and hopefully that's going to get the best out of everybody and drive them forward as well. While I am really excited that Pochettino is taking over this program, it doesn't come without concerns. One of those main concerns being is that he traditionally likes to play out of the back. The U.S. men's national team really struggles to do that. Our starting goalkeeper in the Copa America, Matt Turner, is not very good with his feet, and currently he's not playing for Nottingham Forest, and he's not even the backup goalkeeper for them this year. Any of that ball familiarity that he may have gained while playing with the U.S. men's national team, while having every single minute under his belt, will not be there if he gets the call. While Matt Turner's call-up may be in question because he's not playing, there's not really a better option at the moment. None of our other goalies are particularly good with their feet, and if they are, they're still very young and they're not ready for the senior level. Look at Gaga Slonina in the third division in England. Diego Cochin's maybe going to start making the bench or playing for Barcelona too. And Patrick Schulte, he's playing every week in the MLS, but he did not look overly comfortable in the Olympics either. So our goalkeeper situation is shaky enough as is. Asking them to take on more responsibility and play out of the back might be a little dangerous, so Pochettino may have to shift his style a little bit more right off the bat. The concern there is not only with the goalkeepers. Our center backs have proven that maybe that's not their best quality either. Tim Ream is our best ball-playing center back, and he's recently moved from Fulham in the English Premier League to Charlotte FC in MLS. Unfortunately, Tim is aging. I am his biggest supporter. He's from St. Louis, just like I am. I want to see him succeed. I want to have that, hometown representation on the national team. But let's be honest, Father Time is undefeated, and the challenges between the English Premier League and MLS are so much different that when players of his age come back home, we typically see their levels drop. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen. However, it is a possibility. And with our best ball-playing center back not playing at the highest level, we're already at a disadvantage. Another disadvantage there is the fact that Sergiño Dest is still recovering from his ACL injury. We may see him back in the spring, but that's still months away and he has a lot of rehab left to do. While I'm fine with Joe Scally playing as our right back, I think he did a phenomenal job over the summer, and he's one of the only players that can really hold his head high after that disastrous performance in Copa America. He's not an expert on the ball. That's not his game. He's a stay-at-home defender who will do his job, but if we're asking him to be overly technical on the ball, play in tight spaces, we might run him into some trouble, and that's not what we want to do. So again, I'm hoping that Pochettino can make some adjustments and look at a slightly different style of play here. Overall, the thing that I'm most excited for that Pochettino is going to bring to the table is the fact that he gets his teams to punch above their weight. He gets the most out of every single player on those teams and gets them to play greater than the sum of their parts. Again, let's take into account Southampton finishing 8th in the Premier League under him. That is a big accomplishment. Now we're going to look at Tottenham. We know that under Pochettino they finished 2nd in the EPL as well as runners-up in the Champions League. Those are not small feats. But if we dive in and look at a little bit more about how he helped them do that, it's even more impressive. One of the players that he really got the most out of on that Tottenham squad was Dele Alli. He looked like a great player under Poch. Like he had the world at his fingertips and that he was going to go on and do great things. However, he has ultimately fallen off since Poch left. I can't remember the last time I heard news about him doing anything exceptional on the field. He used Dele Alli as a 10, and I'm honestly hoping he can do the same with Gio Reyna and Malik Tillman and really help them elevate their games under this new play style. While also at Tottenham, he helped Harry Kane, who was already a phenomenal number 9, do more than just finish. He helped Harry Kane learn how to drop back into the play and become a little bit of a hold-up target man and develop his ability to pass the ball between the lines and find the runners that are going down the flanks. He elevated an already great player's game to really complete him. I'm hoping that he can continue to do that with all of the talent that we have on our team as well. Right? We know that Christian Pulisic is extremely dynamic on the wing, but could there potentially be more out of him? Yes, absolutely. He's only 26. He's in the very beginning of his prime. There's more that we can see out of him. There's more that we can see out of Flo Balogun up top. Can we see Pochettino maybe work with him during those national team camps and get a little bit more out of his game and help use him more effectively? Absolutely. We know that Balogun was not used to his best ability under Berhalter. Now it's time to see what that can look like under a new manager who knows how to get the most out of his talent. And just one more look at the Spurs lineup in 2019 when they went to the Champions League final. They weren't full of world beaters. Yes, they had Harry Kane. Yes, they had Son. But they also had Danny Rose and Harry Winks and Alderweireld and Vertonghen in their starting 11. If you're looking back at those players and hearing those names, they're not exactly household names that you would expect on a Champions League final roster. The U.S. men's national team has a lot of players that are at that level, right? They're very good players. They're very capable players, but they're maybe not the world beaters, the elite, the household names that everybody's going to know no matter where you go. We maybe have one, maybe two of those guys that everybody's going to know, and that's because Americans are growing quickly in Europe, but they're not the big threat names that everybody's going to be afraid of. I'm hoping that we can see Pochettino do this again with our players who are playing at a good level and bring them up to that next level. Help them reach new heights as a team. That way, even if we don't have that one or two players that really strike fear into the hearts of our competition, they're going to know that they're in for a very tough, very technical, very team-driven approach when playing the U.S. men's national team, and they're always going to be in for a fight. I think that's left the perception of our opponents in the recent years, and I'm hoping that with a little bit more cohesion and a little bit more true unity in play style, that's going to come back. Okay, guys, that's everything I have for you today. I'm really excited to see Pochettino take over this team. I'm hoping that it comes in our September window, but right now it's really looking like it's going to be delayed to October. Let me know what you guys think. What are you most excited to see out of our team moving forward, and who do you think is going to benefit the most from having Pochettino lead the U.S. men's national team into 2026?